Ride along each week as we share proven strategies to strengthen your business, energize your team, and create the business success you've been dreaming about. And now, here's your host, Rich Allen.
Are your employees thinking seriously about their future role with your business? Welcome to the Ultimate Business Tune-Up Podcast, where our one and only goal is to help you tune up your business so you can have the long-lasting success and fulfillment that comes from owning a solid, profitable, and sustainable business. Each week, we dive deep into a single topic related to improving your business, improving your team engagement, or improving the relationship with your customers. This week, I want to focus our attention on a topic that doesn't come up in normal business conversation very often. That is, getting your current employees to think of and focus on the expectations of their future position with your company. Okay, I know you may think this is a crazy thought, but I want to encourage you to stick with me for a minute on this one. We've all heard the advice that the best way to get ahead or to get promoted is to do a great job at what you're doing right now. And from an employee's perspective, I believe that is indeed the best way to prove that you're worthy of a bigger assignment or a bigger role in a company. And a highly motivated employee would do just that. They'd knock it out of the park in their current job so that their boss and others around them can see firsthand that they're capable of a larger, much more challenging position. And because this is sound advice and very good for the business owner in the near term, most business owners use this as their primary way that they separate great employees from average employees. They simply observe how someone's performing in their current role. If the employee is serious about success and determined to get ahead, they'll put their head down and work harder than anyone else, knowing that by doing this, they'll set themselves apart from any of their peers. Then, when the time comes and a higher level opening becomes available, they're ready and waiting to be tagged as the next newly promoted team member. Sounds like a logical and practical approach to promotions and internal advancement, doesn't it? But oftentimes, that's not how the situation plays out in real life. Instead, what happens is that while your highly motivated employee is hard at work focusing on killing it with their current job responsibilities, their friends and coworkers are asking them, "Why are you killing yourself in this position?" They can see that their friend is putting in tons of effort while they and their peers are oftentimes looking around, checking out other positions, and often finding opportunities for advancement that are available by simply moving from one company to another. As your top performer is watching their peers land sweet new jobs with perks, benefits, and compensation that makes them jealous, they begin to ask questions like, "Why am I working like a hamster on a wheel for this company? How much longer will I have to work this hard before I get a promotion? What could happen if I just started looking around for a new opportunity?" Before you know it, they've caught the bug, and they're doing the same thing as their buddies, updating their resumes, checking out Indeed and other job posting websites, and submitting their online applications with companies that look cool, fresh, and appealing. And where does that leave you as the business owner? Well, frankly, that leaves you very vulnerable to losing your best employee. And the worst of it is that you did nothing wrong. In fact, you did what most every other business owner does. You gave your team member a good work assignment with good pay and benefits and provided a nice work environment to boot. In the end, you lose a great employee, and it only serves to reinforce the notion that we hear a lot these days. Employees just don't have any loyalty anymore. They're only interested in themselves and don't care about their employer. But what if it could be different? What if there was a way to get your employees to be more loyal to your business? As you can imagine, I believe it's very possible. I believe your business can be very different than others in this particular area. And to make this point, I want to share with you an experience one of my clients had that I think you'll find interesting and helpful. A little context to start. My client was the owner of an architectural firm that had been in business for over 20 years. They were very well respected in their industry and had about 30 employees. While the business was successful, they were constantly losing good talent to other firms who would actively recruit their best employees. So we set out to change the way their team viewed the business and their role in it. Here's what happened. I asked the owner to show me his organization chart. It was pretty typical, with him at the top, 3 partners in lead functional roles, and the remaining 27 people in boxes under these 3 partners. It was all very well organized and well put together. Then I asked him to draw out the organization chart that he would have in 3 years if they could achieve the growth and success that he thought was possible. This took some time to think through, but after much discussion and a lot of back and forth, his new organization chart had over 60 boxes on it, with the business structured by market segments, with market segment leader positions in 4 specific markets that match their growth strategy. The owner worked on this new future org chart for a couple of weeks, and when he was comfortable that it reflected his ideal business of the future, he had it printed on one of his large format printers, meaning his organization chart was about the size of a home theater screen. I particularly liked that his new organization chart had over 30 positions on the chart that were blank. These positions either weren't yet filled or they didn't even exist yet. But in the business owner's mind, these positions were going to be critical to the future success of the business, so he proudly included them as part of his business of the future. He called an all-hands meeting to share his future organization chart, and he walked through the entire chart, explaining how they were going to restructure the business to target on the markets he felt were the biggest opportunity for future growth and success. As you can imagine, he had everyone's attention as he described the future potential for the firm, and each person searched to find their name on this very large org chart. Then he did what I now call the magic trick. He pulled out a black magic marker and he invited everyone on his team to come up after the meeting and write their name in the box they wanted to be in within the next 3 years. In that moment, he turned a boring document that no one pays attention to into a piece of art that everyone was very interested in and intrigued with. Everyone on his team pored over the new future org chart. They asked questions about the new roles, questioned what the expectations and requirements for each new position were, and ultimately, they each put their name in the box that they personally wanted to own in the future. As you can imagine, a couple of employees put their name in the owner's box on the chart as a joke, but most every other person took the opportunity to place their name in the position they thought they were best suited to fill. In many cases, it was the role that they could only dream about having, but thought they would have to leave the firm to ever have a shot at it. As the meeting ended and the team left the conference room, the owner and I were left with the oversized org chart, now filled with handwritten names of his team members, all seeing themselves in bigger, more impactful roles than they were that day. Everyone on the team left thinking about the possibilities that lie ahead for them in the business. And the business owner was left with a very clear picture of the hopes and dreams of everyone on his team. Over the next several weeks, the owner met with each individual in his business to discuss where they had put their name on the org chart. He wanted to know why that position was appealing to them and how that position fit into their long-term career goals. And for the very first time, he had the opportunity to talk seriously with each person about the skills they would need to get, the experiences they would need to have, and the behaviors they would need to demonstrate in order for them to be ready and qualified to fill that specific position. Think about that for a minute. When was the last time you had a serious, deep, intense developmental discussion with each person on your team? And to be more specific, when was the last time you had this kind of discussion with everyone on your team about the specific future role that they would like to own in your business? My bet is probably never. And as a result, your employees are thinking that if they're going to grow, expand, reach higher, and achieve their personal goals, they're going to have to make it happen on their own. They're thinking, every man for themselves. Look out for number one. And if I don't take care of me, who will? So why not you? Why not the business owner? Look, I didn't tell you this story just for fun. It was fun to watch the reaction of the employees as they were given the opportunity to claim their position on the org chart. Absolutely. But that's not why I shared this story. I shared it so you could go out and do the same thing with your business and your team. It's perfectly fine to do things differently in a way that suits you and your business better. But if you take anything away from today's message, please take this away. Your team members want to be able to see their future. And most of them want that future to be with your business. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there today. So take the time to create your business of the future and share it with your team. And don't be afraid to give them the opportunity and the experience of claiming the position that would absolutely light them up and make them stay with you forever. As always, I want you to know if you have specific questions about this particular topic, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask. I'd be glad to help you create the organization chart for your ideal future so your team members can clearly see the opportunities that exist right where they currently work. My last request is this: share this podcast episode with a fellow business owner. We all struggle with the challenge of retaining our best talent. Perhaps this episode will help them visualize a better way forward. And I know they'll appreciate you for sharing it with them. Thanks for joining me today. Be sure to tune in next week when we're going to discuss knowing your toughest competition. You won't want to miss it. Meanwhile, if you have a question, suggestion, or would just like to connect, shoot me an email at rich@tourtoprofit.com. Now go make it a great week, and whatever you do, ride hard.
Thank you for listening to the Ultimate Business Tune-Up. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. In the meantime, find more resources at tourtoprofit.com and connect with Rich by sending a message to rich@tourtoprofit.com. Until next time, ride hard.